Countdown, make it to 0. I'll show you mine.
I'd like to call a March 5th meeting of the City Council of the City of Cannon Falls to order. I hope everybody survived the cold and snow out there. Let's move on from that, right? Okay, if we could have the roll call, please.
Councilmember Bringold. Here. Duncan.
Here.
Gesme.
Here.
Lindell.
Here.
Mattson.
Here.
Montgomery.
Here.
And Mayor Eltoff.
Here. If you'd stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion by Bill and a second by Mary Jill to approve the agenda. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. That leads us to public input. Citizens may speak to issues not on the agenda. Before speaking, please give your name and address for the minutes. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Comments must be pertinent to city business and adhere to the data privacy rules. No employee's name may be used. Personal attacks will not be tolerated.
Hi,
Tim?
Tim Deemer, Cannon Falls. Well, I was wondering if there's what procedure, how to go about having public input at the library. If it's for me that I'm been banned from going there till June or July or whatever. So I'd like to have go there for public input, or as they did one time, they moved it here. And just.
Well, I think you probably, if you want to go sooner than that, we could probably talk about it at a personnel meeting.
Yeah, just trying to find some advocacy too. I've tried talking to county commissioners, Brad Anderson, and called some didn't return my calls, but one of the council members met me, which was
Well, I'll tell Dave or Linnell, we'll put it on the personnel committee agenda next time.
And when would that be? Or would I be?
The next meeting of the Personnel Committee could be within the next 2 weeks or so. But what specifically are you asking?
Just due process.
Due process for?
Kind of a combination of things. Are procedures, or some libraries call them policies, but procedures that have took place, and then some.
You want to have input.
Very credible others that have this, that have had the same experience I've had there in terms of
I
their
wonder if he's looking
conduct.
for library
and-
board.
Yeah.
I wonder if he's looking for, are you looking to talk to the library board?
Partly that, but then to go, it gets nowhere. They don't stick to, it's, and it's very difficult without an advocate. For me, I don't have, I mean, I've got all kinds of information, you know, so both unwritten and discrepancies, basically.
So are you looking for someone on the city level to advocate for you?
Or anywhere. I've been looking for a year or more.
Okay.
My case manager is about as
Okay.
close as I've gotten, which I've only seen, you know, on a monthly basis.
Okay.
And there's no advocacy from legal to just general advocacy.
Right.
There's none. There's a seniors to seniors program I thought would be helpful from the Red Wing Senior Center, Pier 55, but I went there and what they had in the newspaper, I don't know how it got in there because it was something that they dissolved. It wasn't something they had for 2 years, so it was called Seniors Helping Seniors for those in distress. It is how it kind of described. So like I said, I've gone to to commissioners, to the police. They're tired of seeing me there. You know, I go I'm not a weekly, but I go there, question, and Officer Berg helped me one day try to make some contacts. 2 out of the 4 phone numbers, there's no, or one was totally disconnected. And
Are you looking to get the current restrictions on you lifted before June?
well, I'd like to have them look at it and have another way of mediating. There's a wonderful place that I found just recently in the last month from Rochester, and it costs nothing, basically. I mean, they ask for a kind of sliding fee scale based on your income, and on my income, it cost me $20.
Okay.
But what are you asking for? You want to be back in the library? What
Well,
are you
eventually
asking?
I'm gonna be,
Yeah.
and I mean, there's layers of other stuff not related to city, but with Twin Rivers that I've been the defamation is unbelievable. I've been told or reported that I've done something that I had just sitting there minding my own business, and been told I've done all these things. I didn't have no behavior for them to even judge, but they claimed I had unwanted behavior and it's loitering. I was just waiting there for somebody to finish eating, which was within 10 minutes, and I don't know, days later I got trespassed from there.
Right.
And then Dairy Inn, that's another place. It's even worse. I was just standing out, not talking to nobody, not even seeing anybody, and they claimed I was harassing employees when I was just me. How can I harass somebody if there's nobody to harass? And so that one got extended another year for being banned from there. The trespass don't bother me. I won't, especially someplace I won't go, but I'd like to go to Twin Rivers. I've got somebody that lives there that I've been visiting, and we take trips to Red Wing occasionally for watching, or going to the bowling alley that she does every week. And just mediation. It's called Mediation Conflict Solutions is the name of the company, MCS, Mediation Conflict Solutions. I've got information on them. They would meet wherever. They would do it over Skype or FaceTime. So you don't have to go down. You don't have to travel. It'd be all arranged. Mediation, where there'd be a mediator, a middle person to sort through all this. That's all I'm asking.
Okay. Okay, public input. Anybody else?
Good evening, Council. This is Kyle Paulson, and I am from the Chamber of Commerce here in Cannon Falls in the area. I just want to report that much like the council having so many new people, our board of directors now has 4 new members. There are 8 of them. And our new members are Brian Hokinson from Merchants Bank, Suzanne Siebert from Farmers Insurance, Tim Skog from Hiawatha Broadband, and our very own Melanie Carlson. Thank you for letting us have her. And so this Thursday will be our next board meeting with the group, and I'm looking forward to that. Lots of new energy in the room. And so we will be moving forward with our Fun Fests starting in May. It is the second Thursday, as it was last year, and so May through September. And I did start digging up some things for our Easter egg hunt. That is on April 19th.
Wow. And
that is the Saturday before Easter. Last year, when it was so drizzly and cold, we had 259 young people looking for eggs. And so if we get good weather,
watch out.
Are you going to be hiding the eggs in snowbanks? Because middle of April, it's probably,
They're still there.
they're going to be there.
I hope not. I hope not.
Shovels.
No, we'll hide them in the businesses. Oh, so it's nice and warm. Any other questions?
No.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kyle.
Thanks, Kyle. Anybody else public input? Second call, public input. Third and final call, public input. Okay, we'll move on. We have a presentation tonight. Maybe Dave or Linnell want to introduce the Senior Center?
It's probably been a year or 2 or 3 since we last heard from the seniors and their organization, but they've come to the council in the past and provided an update for all of us in terms of the programs and activities that they're working on, and they've requested an opportunity to do so tonight. So.
Well, Mr. Mayor, council members, good evening. My name is Jesse Johnson. For those of you that don't know me, I'm a board member of the Canterbury Senior Center. So thanks for having us here tonight and the opportunity to give you an update, especially the new council members, on kind of what our mission is all about. We appreciate the financial contributions in the past as we try to make ends meet, $3,500, and then most recently this past year, $5,000. So that's really helpful to our mission. I wouldn't really, they're in the nation as well, but really investments, I think, as we look as the community as a whole, right, and our seniors. We're going from seniors helping seniors would always be the case, but really it's seniors helping the community, right? Because we've got our last wave of baby boomers about to enter the ranks of retirement, and that means we have a huge resource out there that our community can use, and a lot of skills, a lot of talent out there, and a lot of time that guys like me don't have, but with a resource like there, the baby boomers retired, to really come together, rally around the community, and take this thing and really make it good for the whole community. So thank you for having us. Teresa couldn't be here tonight. She was supposed to speak, so I got thrown in the game. She just has some dental work, so she can't talk very well. So that's why I'm here. But really, I want John Hobart to come up because he was sat on the board for 6 years. He's got the institutional knowledge and the familiarity with our mission and what the organization does. So he's got a presentation. So without further ado, John, turn it over to you.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, John.
Happy to be back. Give you an update of what's going on at the Senior Center. So we'll jump right to the slides, hoping everybody can see them good. I think they're all pretty good, so should be able to, if this thing's going to work here. Wouldn't you know? There we go. This is our current board. They were just elected just recently. You can see Byron Hansen, Denny Shulquist, Nina Pagel, Joyce Falink, Gary Osterby, and Dick Mensing in the back row. Carol Shield, Kay Myers, Lee Foyt, and Lee's here tonight, watching me to give a report, I think, on how well I do. Kathy Shorter, Marilyn Banks, and Jesse Johnson. So really good board that we have re-elected. The officers are shown on the left there. Dick Mensing is the chair. Joyce Falink is past chairman. Treasurer is Kay Myers, and Jesse is secretary. We have allowed now some younger members to come on the board. We thought that'd be a good idea. That's why Jesse's in here, not just people older in age. Get new ideas, new things maybe to work on. Teresa Johnson was hired as our new executive director when Rod Johnson left. So she is doing a marvelous job for us, still kind of learning this operation and everything, but doing really an outstanding job. And we hope she's with us quite some time. If she can't be there, then he shows up. So we're lucky to
then you want her.
a sub. I don't know if she pays. Does she pay you, Jesse? I don't know. But we're working on quite well. This is our advisory board now. Bill Altoff, Jim Altoff, Von Bakken, Jim Bassett, and the rest of the people on the list. Once you go off the board, you can continue to work with the senior center on this advisory board. So that's the people that are on it right now. These are what I call our core programs in the senior center. We have education. You can see all the different things underneath that, and I'll be talking about some of these later. Fundraising and the service. So the board members all serve on at least one committee, and that committee functions to organize each one of these core programs. We call them cores. I will mention the men's shed. Some of you see that article in the paper recently. And I don't know a lot about the men's shed right now, but it's a group of men that are going to get together to help seniors out in the community. For example, maybe we have an elderly lady that can't move her snow and she can't afford to do it. We're going to have, these people are going to volunteer to do that kind of thing. Maybe they need something fixed on their house that's easy, and again, cost-wise they can't afford it, so maybe some of our people could help do some of that. So that's what that men's shed's going to be all about. I think the article was in the paper last week, if I remember right, if you want to look back on the beacons. These are the committees that operate each of the core programs. Education, Joyce Falink, you can see the committees. Kay Myers is heading up fundraising. Nina Pagel is service, and then Jesse is doing physical activities. And I'll be talking about the different physical activities that we do right now. So we'll look at each of the programs just briefly. Adventures Learning is one of them. We have a program coming up, Senior Physical Therapy. Kurt Beisel is going to put that on April 5th at the Senior Center at 9:30 in the morning. It's a free program. There is no cost unless a meal is served, and then we charge folks for the meal. Anticipated programs is a picnic in the park, and we've done that for quite a few years, and a Veterans Day program, which has been very successful for us over time. All these programs are put on YouTube and Channel 12. And Dick's in the back there now. He's the guy that does most of the taping for us on all the programs. As I said, the annual Veterans Program has been a really successful thing for us. This started with recognizing Vietnam vets that live in Cannon Falls. This was our first class, I call them. I think this next year will be our 5th class. We have expanded this now to the different war times. World War II, we recognized those guys. We recognized Korean vets. And also now, this past year, we did Iraqi freedom veterans and people that served in that part of the area. But this was our first class, so I take a lot of pride in them because that's a group I'm in. We have quite a few Vietnam vets. I think at this point we have recognized around 70 Vietnam vets here. Steve's been come to our programs from time to time. We are going to have a National Vietnam War Veterans Day social on the March 29th that's coming up. This is a national day of recognition for Vietnam vets. So we're going to just have a social at the Cannon Valley Senior Center, coffee, rolls. Main idea is just to meet and greet each other and just have an hour and a half or so together to talk socially. So that's coming up here on the 29th. You're all invited if you want to stop in and see what we're going to do there. Book Buddies, real big program for us, been very successful. That continues to be a strong program and is doing well this year. Educational workshops, we have one coming up. It's called Beginning to Become a Tech Savvy Senior. Laura Qualley is going to put that on for us. 10 o'clock. And I didn't put the date in there. Can't remember the date. That's coming up. You don't remember, do you, Jess? I goofed on that. In anticipated workshops, you can see what we're kind of thinking of doing there. So these are held just periodically through the year. We have a day trip, and you're all invited for this one too. Minnesota Twins game, May 2nd this year. Can't remember who we play, but you can get tickets through the senior center, and then we bus everybody up there, and we enjoy the day up at the ballpark. So, and we sit on the overhang out there in right field. I don't know what they have a name for that. I can't think what it is, but it's a great place to sit. You got tables to put your food on and drink and so on. Really nice. So if you're interested in that, just call Teresa and she'll have tickets here soon for that. Also, we're looking at maybe going to Fort Snelling this year. Some people have indicated they might like to go to the St. Paul Saints. And that's fun to go to that too. And then in October, this will probably be a go. We've gone to Stillwater before. Take the riverboat tour up there, and then you take a tour of the city. And Stillwater is a very interesting community to visit. Their old houses up on the hills, really something. So that'll be part of that. We have a lot of senior activities, physical activities. When I was on the board, I got, of course, most of you, or some of you know my background in sports and everything. You can see I'm doing pretty good after my little bout with a problem this past year too. So I've been throwing a softball already and batting and doing a little bit of running, getting in shape for the softball season. So anyway, I kind of got this going, and we have a lot of things going on at the senior center now. Teresa's going to start a first and third Wednesday board game, or called Game Day, and people can just come and we're going to have things for them to do, and they can play these games for the morning or whatever. We have senior walking up there. We have some guys that are people that come there every day and walk in the CCC rather than the field house. We do a senior outside walking activity in the summer. Pickleball is really popular, and I would like to point out to the city council, I know we won't say too much about this, but we'd still love to get an outdoor court or two for pickleball. So if you have any place in the city that frees up.
What's pickleball? I gotta ask.
Okay, it's played like tennis. It's played on the court is the size of a badminton court in dimensions.
Okay.
It has a net in the middle, just like tennis, and you play it pretty much like tennis.
Okay.
Except you use paddles. They're graphite paddles or wood, and we use wiffle ball.
Okay. All right.
Size of a tennis ball.
No, I can't.
And this is played inside at the CCC, and if you want to see this being played, just come up there sometime in the mornings and you'll find people playing. We have the senior traveling softball team. And I'll talk more about that later. I got a better slide talking about that. And we have fantasy football now in the fall. We bought a senior table tennis up there. It's really a nice table. And we're trying to get people to do that. And we bought bicycles. I think you're aware of that, or you've probably seen those bikes up there that We have 6 of them, and seniors can use those bicycles. We're under, few things we're thinking about doing too, but you know, seniors are still pretty physically active, a group of us at least. And we try to put things out there for them, for their, just makes their life much more positive. Walking, there's Roger Underdahl. He's every morning, Roger's there at 8 o'clock, he's at the door and he's in there for at least a couple hours walking inside. And this walking is beneficial to seniors. Pickleball, there's our courts, upper right. You can see what it looks like when we get them set up in the gym up there. We have 2 courts we can play, so we can handle, they've gotten now where they play 3 to a team, so 6 people can play at one time. It's intended more to be singles and doubles, but now they play triples. They seem to like that. They don't have to run the court as much, I think, when they do that. Pickleball is the fastest growing sport in the country for seniors. It's everywhere. And our people, as I said, would, and I've been here, I think Dave, I spoke to a group. Were you here then? I'm not sure, I think. And I don't know if you have space somewhere for a couple outdoor courts. That'd be great if we could get those started. Talk to the high school, but they don't want to give up their courts up there for some reason. There's our Boomer softball group. We play in a league with Northfield, Faribault, and Owatonna. And we play each team twice during the season. You can see kind of, this is last year's schedule, but you can see that was our schedule last year. We hope to maybe this year have a businessman's game like we did, I think maybe like 3 years ago. But that same core group of people is still playing. And we've got more new ones now. That picture's a couple years old there that we're showing. And we're in spring training now. I was going to, CCC, we can use the batting cage there. We can throw in the gym, get our arms in shape, and do some running and fielding in there too. Fantasy football, it's been growing in popularity. These were the first coaches that we had, and Ron Chance kind of been the overall champion for about, I think, 2 or 3 years in a row now. Group travel, you probably know we put on travel groups. This year we're going to New Orleans, May 18th through the 26th. So if you have an interest to take a bus trip to New Orleans, that is available now. I think the cost is around $800, if I remember right, $795 per person for that trip. So call Cannon Senior Center if you might be interested. There's flyers up there. And they'd also like to head to the Black Hills this year for a trip out there and see all the things that you see out in that area. So a couple of things. You can see where we've been before. We've been to Nashville, we've been to San Antonio, been to Savannah, Georgia, and Colorado. And I can only get 4 up there. We've been to some other places too, but these are some of the highlights of those. TRIAD is kind of, this is actually a separate program in the city. I think you're all familiar with TRIAD. And, but it's kind of under our umbrella, so they use our facility and space to do their meetings and everything. Rosie Schluter does a wonderful job in running that, and I'm on that board with Joe, Mr. McCormick, I mean, and Joe's on it also, by the way, and probably all the police, we'd have to say. But if you've never been to a TRIAD meeting, it might be beneficial to come sometime to see just what kind of, the programs are excellent, excellent speakers. Service, what do we do there? We have open houses. Now, you can see this was in January. We had musicians in, Carol Shields' group, and they played music, and you can see the people were dancing. It's a real nice social thing. And Teresa started this, and she plans to have a monthly social like this with music. The last one I went to here last week, we sang songs and so on like that. We're also planning to have a potluck once a month. So those things are in the planning right now. Summer concerts could return this year. We did that for quite a few years down at John Birch. Hired some musical groups to come in. It was a free concert to the city's residents. So that probably could return in 2019. We can get a sponsor for the entertainment and so on. Meals on Wheels, of course, is a big program with us. These people don't get much recognition, but they're sure out there working. You can see the group there. I took Julie's, my wife does this, and I took her list, and I think I picked everybody off there that's on, that's involved with this now, this year. You can see Linda Christensen here and Lauren Evinrude picking up their meals at the hospital. The tax preparation continues, and of course we're taking calls on that right now. It's actually AARP run, and we have volunteer tax preparers that help people do taxes that can't afford it or whatever, like that. So that's in action right now, actually. So if you know somebody that might need that service, have them call the senior center, and Teresa can give you information on that. We just we help them by lining up the people, scheduling them for them, and then they do the tax work for them. Other service projects, we have an individual in the Cannon Church Interaction Council to keep in touch with our area churches. We offer a computer internet service or access down at the senior center. I think we have 3 computers down there right now that are hooked up for senior use. August community table is when we do that for the community. We have an elder justice program just to kind of steer people to the right place to get information. Information and referrals are also done through the senior center. Fundraising, of course, this is our major fundraiser. And if you didn't know, the Everly Brothers show is going to be here April 12th. Now, these are not his sons. There are a couple of young men that sound like sound like the Everly Brothers, and they will be here on April 12th. Tickets are $35, I think, and this is our primary fundraising project that we do each year to run our programs. We have 10 sponsors this year. You can see them down at the bottom there. Local merchants, businesses that sponsor the concert at the cost of $500. So we got $5,000 to start with. So we're hoping this will be successful. You've probably been to some of our concerts. Caitlin Smith, of course, has been here a couple times. We had a Buddy Holly show. Remember that one year when we had the bomb threat? And Joe shut us down?
Forgot about that.
Or the school did. We had to clear it out. People still complain about that, but what do you do? Funny how some people think, about that. They want their money back and so on like that. So we've had some great shows here. It isn't too many communities our size that can bring a program in like this. I don't know why the public should really take advantage of it. It's maybe we're so close to the casino that maybe this hurts us a little bit, but we are involved with the Family Fair Receipts Collection Program where all of our seniors drop their food slips, and then when you get $1,000, you can turn them in. I think Teresa told me she just turned in $3,000 here. I don't know what that how much. I'm not sure what we gain from that, but it really helps us. So that's a great program. So if you're not dropping those at your churches, drop them at the senior center. And we will make sure they're turned in. Other fundraising programs, business funding appeal from local businesses and civic groups, and thanks to you guys for your generous contribution. We appreciate your increasing that. We do run a low budget. You know, our budget isn't that big, and it takes money, as you know, to run anything, and it's nice to have that. Some people leave us memorials from deaths and gifts and honorariums. And then we do charge a little bit for softball and pickleball, just so you're aware of that. We charge $35. Boy, it's a huge amount. $35 to play pickleball for a whole year. Now, a lot of places you play, they charge you by the hour. You know, and we go $35 for the whole year. And senior softball is $35 too. And we use this money that comes in from senior softball to buy bats and balls and all that sort of thing. Right now we're looking for a pitching machine for the softball. It's slow pitch, but we want something we can shoot balls out in the outfield for practice. So we're looking for a machine like that right now. The school's been really generous to us too with in-kind support. You've probably heard right now they're planning to charge us rent now to be there, but it's down to a level I think we could probably afford. It's $250 a month. They were going to do $500, and that was really pushing us there. Many senior centers are run by the cities, which isn't the case here. You guys help us, but we had thought maybe we'd come to you to see if you could help us with that rent, but they've dropped it now, so we're thinking we could probably afford it now. You know, $250 to help with lights and things like that. And we're trying to do grants. We'd like to get some more grant writers to help locate some money like that. So we're out there working at this, but. So a special thanks to the council for your continued support of the senior center. We do appreciate it, and the seniors appreciate it, because you're helping them make their lives more positive. I think most senior people that I know, they're pretty active and they're healthy because of that. We'd like to get some of the other seniors off the sofas and get them doing things. We got a lot going on if they would just show up to use the facility. And closing slide here, give back to the community through your local Cannon Valley Senior Center. So anybody have any questions? Otherwise, appreciate being here for the senior center and continue to support us. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Thanks, John.
Okay, we'll move on to council agenda. Items on the area of the agenda may be adopted or they may be removed and placed on the business area of the agenda for discussion purposes before approving. For you in the audience and at home, I'll read the consent agenda. Item A, just and correct claims for the accounting period ending February 27th, 2019. Item B, minute meetings for the February 19th, 2019 City Council meeting. C, hiring of a 2019 pool manager. Item D, Resolution 2412, accepting a donation of $250 from Brian and Julie Meest to the ambulance department. And item E, second reading and adoption of ordinance 365, amending chapter 152 of the Cannon Falls City Code, the zoning ordinance concerning building relocation. Is there any items that the council would like to pull down? No? So I have a motion to accept the council agenda, or consent agenda.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion by Bill and a second by Derek to approve the consent agenda. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Council business. Guess we'll move on to reports. Staff, Samantha?
Uh-oh. So, it's supposed to just auto come on, Jeff, do you know? They hit something. I could cue it up for you, Jack. There we go.
There we go.
There we go.
All right. This is a bit of an unorthodox request by me because it doesn't involve me. This just came to me about 3 o'clock this afternoon. Last council meeting, I talked about the gas line project that's going on over on that side of town. So that's off of kind of Water Street and 2nd Street area by the Bowl and Spoon place. So what they've got going on is they've worked on the gas line on the north side of the river. That's been complete. They came in today to me to talk about needing to close Water Street where it turns into Stoughton down for about a day or two. And the problem they're running into is where they've shot the bore that goes from the end of this orange line across the river and back up where they are on the other side, and it's about a 500-foot length. They normally don't work with bore lengths that long in one shot. So the problem they're running into now is where you see this orange line and is about where their boring machine sits. So they have to weld together a 500-foot continuous line now that's going to fill that bore that they've shot under the river to put that gas line in. It takes time to weld it, then it needs to be inspected and air tested before they can put it underneath the river. So it needs to sit there for about 36 hours while all that happens, while they assemble it and all the testing gets done. So that would make this through road impassable while that line sits there before they put it down there. And they just don't know where else to store it where they can actually insert it right in where their machine is sitting on how the operation actually works. So their request today to me is what process they need to do. They were informed they need to come to a council meeting to ask to close a road. They weren't ready to do that today, and coming in 2 weeks would have delayed the project where it's just going to sit idle. So what they were hoping today is I could get approval for them to do that. I talked to him today. Traffic would still be able to go down Water Street, come up 2nd. Like I think it's Jake Halling lives down here. He'd be able to still access down to his street. You know, like Leroy McCusker lives down here. He'd be affected as far as he'd have to go back over to Bridge and come up to leave his house. The residents in these condos could still travel down 2nd Street. It's just crossing this intersection is what's going to be the problem. So I've talked to them about signage that I want, because this is kind of a throughway coming down Water Street, where people come down here from Bridge and Stoughton to come up here to access across the 3rd Street Bridge. So we would need signage here pointing people the right direction, as well as here to keep people from going down in case they were going to access that way, just to keep people informed. And then signage here saying, you know, there's no through going down to Stoughton. And they're very willing to work with me on signage on where that would need to go. So that's the request today for council is if they don't have a specific day, they're going to start prepping everything this week, weather pending over the weekend on what we get. You know, probably Tuesday night would be the night that it would be restricted access through that evening. So it would be during the day, Tuesday night, and then Wednesday it would disappear as they put the line under the river. So that's their request right now. Could change a day or two that they would be open with me on what it is. I also told them I want them to work with us as far as notifying these immediate residents right around here too, that we would go door knocking and hang tags just to let them know there'd be restricted access in their area. And then obviously I'll be a good link to emergency services to let them know they can't get through there. So that's the kind of open-ended request tonight, is sometime next week we'd have a night where that intersection will be restricted while there's a gas line laying across it. Any comments on that or thoughts?
Well, if that's what they got to do, they got to do that. But as long as we let everybody know that's going to be immediately affected, I don't see a problem with a day.
Yeah, I mean,
Especially since it's only about a day. I mean, that's not
Yeah.
really as bad as 3 weeks.
as long as everything goes well, the tests go
Exactly.
fine, you know,
Right.
I mean, we can make them cut the pipe and move it. I mean, if we got to open the road back up, it's our road.
Yeah.
It wasn't in their permit. This was an additional request on top of the permit I had to sign to allow them to be in our right of ways. So that's why they have to.
Why did they have to
Come to
lay it
us.
right there? Or
The machine it feeds into, I mean, it's a steel line, so it's not flexible. They can't go anywhere with it. And the machine it feeds into would be sitting right here to put it back under the river. So where that machine is sitting right here, it's one of those things. They don't have any other options, but they still have to ask. Is what it's come
Yeah.
down to in this
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah.
So that's the fun part about working with utilities. You know, they get to do what they want to do sometimes, you know, to get the job done.
but they do
So-
have to curtsy sometimes.
Right. I appreciated them coming in to ask and what they need to do. I think they should have done it a few weeks ago, and they realized how long. And I don't know if they realized how long this was going to be done. And they just shot that bore today and realized the length they needed to get from one spot to the other, and with how deep they had to go. It got to be a pretty long drill for them. So quite a project they're working on right now.
I think that would work. My only, concern actually would be more with it when it sits in position. It's not going to be that flexible. If they've pressurized it, they're not going to want to cut it to
Once
reopen
it's
the
there,
street.
it's kind of there to like commit it in. Yeah.
As far as traffic flowing through there, that's a wider section, but everything this year is narrower. And if they're working in there, I'd be concerned about mixing cars with, we're going to only have one lane of traffic.
Right.
And so, perhaps we should look at, trying to establish a detour that would be more utilizing Minnesota and Hoffman, as opposed to directing traffic alongside where they're working.
Yep, and that was
Keep
my
it
thought.
open
That was
for
my
the
thought
local
too.
residents,
Is
but-
close it to through traffic, but that way at least because we need to be able to get these people
Yeah,
home.
the local residents need access, but the primary traffic, I would try to use 3rd, Hoffman, and 2nd in Minnesota as the route to move vehicles around.
Yeah.
So, and if you'd like, Jeff, I wouldn't mind when they come meet with me this week that.
Yep, just
maybe
let me
I'll
know.
have you come down and we'll tell them what we want done with signage.
I mean, they're
That's
going to be more than willing to put up whatever signage requirements and detour requirements we want. They're going to probably hire a company to do it, would be my guess.
Yeah, they do.
But I think that ensuring that our local residents are in the impacted area are able to get there, but I'd really want to make sure we try to direct as much other traffic around. You'll be amazed how much traffic actually runs on Water and 2nd.
It is. It's a busy road.
It is a lot.
Yeah, so I mean, I just would prefer to try to keep that separated from the people that are working and the residents as much as we could. That would be my only input.
And I guess, dude,
I think we need a motion to
close the road. Yeah.
motion to close the road.
I'll make a motion to close the road to do that.
I'll second.
Motion been made by
We're close with them.
Bill and seconded by Morris to close. What is that, Water Street?
We could call it Water. Yeah. It
Water
kind of turns
Street.
into Stoughton.
For the gas line maintenance? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
That's all I got tonight.
Chief?
The only thing that I was going to mention was coming up, we've got Cops Coffee and Conversation Thursday at 10:30 at the bakery. Hopefully we'll see you there. Guess I should have turned that on. Coffee, Cops, and Conversation, Thursday at 10:30. Hope that we see you there.
Now I hear you. Tim?
Just a quick thank you. The volunteers, the unscheduled part-time employees are really thankful for the wage increase that you guys did for the call pay.
Dave?
Just mentioning, after you adjourn the meeting tonight, let's take a 5 or 10 minute break and then come back to your spots here, and we'll have Sam and Mike just give a little bit of a introduction into some technical capabilities that we have for assisting all of us with getting public information out. And then I'll give some instructions in terms of breaking down into the 2 smaller groups for our workshop. One group will meet over there and the other in the back room. But take 5 or 10 minutes after you adjourn, and then we'll come back and get started in the workshop.
Okay, Linnell? Steve?
Just one thing, John. I think it's on Wednesday mornings, if I'm tuned into KDHL 920, we all get an overview of what happened at the council meeting the night before. So really appreciate when you can do that.
Is it a call-in thing, so we can?
It's live. I've been doing it. I think I did the last
Talk radio.
Whatever. Wow. Matt?
Nothing.
I have nothing tonight.
Okay. Derek?
Nothing for me.
Nothing for me.
Nothing. Morris?
Nope.
Okay. Well, in that case, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mary Jill, second by Bill. All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.